Everyone's definition of home is different. Christopher Smith's definition, it's a work in progress. Literally.
This particular house is about 125 square feet.
This is the tiny house that Christopher built.
A lot of people have crazy ideas, and Christopher has crazy ideas and also kind of acts on them.
While a house this size might look like it's made for something much smaller, it's for Christopher and his girlfriend, Marette. A couple thousand people around the country live in these tiny houses.
The idea of being able to build and own a home outright, for $20,000 or less with no mortgage payment, I think that's really appealing to people.
But how this couple from Boulder got here is another story. You see, Marette's no mechanic. She's a writer.
I built sets in high school for school plays. That's the only construction experience that I have.
And Christopher's no carpenter. He's just a graphic designer with a dream.
For years, probably about 10 years now, I've always wanted to have some land up in the mountains that I could go to.
So near his 30th birthday, he bought that land.
I was actually a little scared to tell Marette because I knew that normal people probably would think that it was out there.
Once he bought the land, then there was sort of the question of what to put on the land and sort of what he wanted to do with it.
On that 5 acres, they decided to put this. They're making a documentary about it and the tiny house phenomenon.
Marette had the brilliant idea, being the writer, she was like, well, that's a great story, why don't you put it together?
He has a background in film and he was kind of looking for a film project, and I was like, well, why don't you film the process of building the tiny house? That seems like a great story.
Somehow,
So here still?
some way,
Like here?
they're still smiling.
If we haven't killed each other during the building of the house, the living in it's going to be really easy.
Though it sometimes has left them wondering how something so small could be such a giant pain in the...
There was a particular low point.
It was, kind of like the depths of winter.
We came out here to try to take some pictures of the house in the snow.
It was cold. We're still working on the tiny house, 9 months after we started.
It was a horrible day.
There's 3 feet of snow, and we're trudging around.
And Marette fell into the ditch in the snow.
Christopher's kind of like laughing, and I start crying, and he's trying to hide the fact that he's laughing. I'm glad that we can all laugh about it now.
About a year and 1,000 hours of labor later,
It's kind of like our baby. It's a big baby.
Christopher and Marette won't be moving right in once it's finished.
There you go.
Because they'll be moving the house right out.
It's about a 2.5-hour drive. We'll probably be driving about 20 miles per hour.
Remember that land Christopher bought? This isn't it.
Just about to embark on our day-long trip taking the tiny house up to the land.
If only the task at hand was as tiny as the house itself.
I don't know, expect it maybe for it to fall off or tip over or, hit a low-hanging bridge.
About 150 miles away in South Park, far from where Christopher pounded that first nail, is the tiny house's new home.
I can't believe we actually made it. I can't believe that we finished the tiny house. I can't believe that we drove it without it falling apart. I can't believe that we actually made it up here and we're about to park it.
And while Christopher and Marette's idea of home isn't defined quite yet, they can safely say that not only can home be where the heart is, it can also be where you park it.
I can't believe that it's done and that it's happening.
For this is